Hi guys, Bobby Gas here. This here is a. I got home this afternoon and in the door, the screen door, was this here package. That's 45s, obviously, right? And it's from a buddy of mine, Terry Peacock. I remember telling on the last channel the story about the guy taking me to the last year to the Leaf playoff hockey game, costing $1,200 for the ticket. And then we seen a Blue Jay game 3 or 4 days later. Anyhow, that guy, and he sent me these. It's obviously 45s, right? And well, like I told you, I ain't seen him for 50 years, other than when he come up, right? He disappeared after high school, went out west, got himself a family, become a psychologist, married a psychologist, work. He couldn't be into the music, same as me. So I don't think there's going to be any garage or psych rock in there. Probably be a lot of R&B. Uh, One thing about this guy here, Terry Peacock's his name. He was, I remember Mr. Mayo, Joe. He's a Beatles fan, a Beatle maniac, I call him. And he was talking about when the Beatles first come in '64 and were popular, and he was from New York, I believe, that area, and I was, I left a comment to him telling him that, it wasn't '64, it was actually '62 when we first heard of the Beatles, around where we were. Love Me Do, right? I loved the harp on Love Me Do. That's what turned me on to the Beatles was Love Me Do. That was in '62, and then the next year in '63, God, I think they had 2 albums. They were all over the chum charts, they're all over the place, right? So I told them that it was all, oh God, one of these emergency alerts. Some guy kidnapped a kid or something like that, some father. So where was I? Oh yeah. So I got a comment from Joe on a later video of mine, and he says, "Yeah, I did some research, and they were, in '63 they started to get popular, but they were big time popular all over the place. And anyhow, he was the first guy in our neighborhood, first guy I ever saw that started looking like a Beatle, with the Beatle hair and Beatle boots, Nehru jackets later on, and all that stuff. But he used to get really, really, because he had the long hair, the Beatle haircut. This is '62. He used to get cut up and beat up all the time. They used to call him Shirley. I remember actually, I thought he looked kind of weird too with the hair. He was a friend of my younger brother, and then later on we became buds and all of that. But that year in '62, he went up on the stage at a dance or something like that at our school, public school. I was in grade 8 then, and he was in grade 7. And he got up on stage with a guitar and sang into a mic. He did Sheila, and what was the other song? I think it was Cracklin' Rosie. I'm not sure. But he did Sheila, and I was really impressed. I thought, my God almighty, that kid's brave getting up there, even though guys are calling him names and everything. He wasn't a fighter, right? So he didn't do a lot of scrapping. And whereas I did. So he come under my protection after a while. But anyhow, he used to get laughed at all the time. I mean, '63, what was it? Please, 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 that album, and I forget the other one, right? Their second album, right? But the Beatles were huge, and he was the first guy, anyhow. I never really started liking him till, I liked, Love Me Do. But Rubber Soul is the album that turned me on to the Beatles. I liked their earlier covers and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything new. Rubber Soul is what really turned me on to thinking, these guys are something, or, they're going to be something. And of course they are. Anyhow, let's get into these records. I'll pull them out and we shall peruse them. I already split it open, but I haven't pulled them out to look at. Alright, let's see what we got here first up. Here, we'll put these down. Move my grass. Ooh. See, medication for the nation. Okay, let's see the first one here. Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty. Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man. I know this tune. Not a bad tune, actually. Where will I, next up here, ooh, the Everly Brothers, Crying in the Rain, and I'm Not Angry on the flip side, and that's on an old Warner Brothers red label. Nice. I like the Everly Brothers, of course. Oh, look at this. On an early monument, Roy Orbison, It's Over. What's on the flip side here? Indian Wedding. Love Roy, boy. Roy the Joy. He was one of the guys in the hippie days. You know, you got your Hendrix, your Led Zeppelin, your Beatles, all your crazy rock and roll stuff, you know, your heavy, you know, bang, 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 bang music. And, you know, you'd be up 3-4 days partying and drug assisted, of course. And you'd want to crash. And there was 2 albums we'd play. Roy Orbison, Greatest Hits, I think it was, and the other one was Patsy Cline. Patsy Cline's Double White album. Great. You could crash to them. Beautiful. The hippies, when we first started, me and my brother throwing on that Patsy Cline. What are you doing? What are you? You'll listen, never mind. And then after a couple of tunes, they go, oh yeah, this is nice. Oh, look at this. Little Richard. Baby, Don't You Tear My Clothes. And Stingy Jenny. That's on a Brunswick label, eh? That's got to be a later one. Got colors on it. Them early records, 45s, didn't have a lot of color to them. Oh, Love Machine, part 1 and part 2 on the other side. Yeah, part 2 on the other side. On Tamla, The Miracles, Smokey Robinson. Boy, he had an awful lot to do in that Tamla Records and Motown Records for Berry Gordy. He did an awful lot of arranging and writing. Smokey did. Manic Monday, The Bangles. Didn't I just show this recently or something like that? I don't remember now. I think I did. Love Power, The Bay City Rollers. The Way I Feel Tonight. They were hot for about 7-8 months. Everybody was wearing tartans. It actually become in the British Isles, it become a dress code, I think, for a couple of years. Ballroom Blitz, Sweet. 7-Year Itch, Roseanne Cash. You know, her first song, and she did one of her songs she did was a cover of her dad's. Somebody told her, which surprised me, says, "Did you know your dad did a really nice rendition?" And she didn't even know she was covering one of her father's songs, which to me, that's weird. Something going on there. Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round, You Spin Me Round, Dead or Alive, oh yeah. Rick O'Casey, Emotion in Motion. And what's on the flip side? PFJ, Rick O'Casey from the Cars. I think he died recently. We've got 2 more here. W.J. McCall, Convoy. Hey, we got a convoy here. Breaker, breaker. Boy, some of them truck drivers back in 68 or 69, I hitchhiked through all the way down to the Maritimes, 1,800 miles, and I get picked up by a truck driver outside of Fredericton, New Brunswick, and this guy was spaced right out, high as a kite. And you know, drinking and on pills and everything, and I tell you, we drifted from one lane to another and everything. He scared the shit out of me, he did. Well, here's the Four Seasons, December 1968. Well, I seen the Four Seasons, gotta be like about 62, maybe 63. I seen a lot of old bands. Anyhow, that's what I got. Thanks a lot, Terry. I don't know. You know, there's no way I can return records. I don't even know if he's got a record player or anything like that. See, this ain't VCLT, guys, because he's not a member of the VC. Doesn't do videos or doesn't even watch them, I don't think. You might see this, I don't know. Anyhow, guys, later.